gonna take your lies. No, I ain't gonna take your lies. No, I ain't gonna take your lies. No, I ain't gonna take your lies.
Yeah, maybe it's divine meditation. Like that. Right, now, there are a few things, because that's basically, I think we've got the basics here, haven't we? Now, let's just go back for a bit of history, because I mentioned the usury thing, but we can't go into the usury thing without really talking about Moses, really, can we? And
Let's be clear, we live at the moment under what's called the Mosaic Covenant.
Yes.
Now, strictly speaking, the Mosaic Covenant is the part of the law that says love your neighbour as you love yourself. It doesn't go to the God bit.
Ah, okay, good.
But that's really interesting, because God gives us an atheistic covenant. Love your neighbour as you love yourself doesn't mention God. That's the covenant we're supposed to have lived under for the last 6,000 years. But man has such a desperate need for God, he's kept bringing confused images of God into it. You know, the old man on the cloud, the patriarchal God, all these kind of things that really are not what the God of love is all about. Yeah. But we live on the Mosaic covenant because what happened was Moses gave the Torah, which is called by the Jews the book of the law. It's not, it's the book of instructions. But it does contain the whole of the law because it contains the line, love your neighbour as you love yourself. It also contains the line later on, love God with all your heart, mind and soul. And interesting, 2 of the 4 Gospels contain the law as love your neighbour as you... all 4 Gospels have got love your neighbour as you love yourself in. But 2 of them talk about love God with all your heart, mind and soul as well, Mark and Matthew. So that clearly means that the secret societies who are responsible for those Gospels believed at that point that Christ had already come. That is the Christ covenant. When the love God bit comes back in again, it's what happens is that despite a period of darkness when atheism started to prevail, we've now turned the clock back, and I am now saying the new covenant is the Christ covenant because I've been sent by God, and it's patently obvious God exists. Quantum mechanics shows you that God exists, despite what Stephen Hawking says.
Got the numbers.
What I find funny as well is the kind of nonsense that Stephen Hawking has to come up with to try and create a universe without God. I mean, it's just laughable. That somehow we don't need God because of gravity. Well, where the fuck does gravity come from, mate? You know what I mean? People just can't get their heads around this idea that there's a God without form who takes form, who has no form.
Yeah, I mean, once it's because they don't understand how space works. It's all in my new book, Dave. Once I get the numbers out and once I get how the space really works and all the metaphysical stuff, and so people can understand the flower of life and how that really works. Like Nassim Haramein, very clear. No, he's a very good guy. I mean, a few things I sort of going to tidy up on the edges, maybe. But,
So anyway, Moses is the man that brings down from. Which mountain is it? Mount Sinai or Mount?
Yes, one.
Is it Mount Sinai? It's Mount Sinai, isn't it? It brings down from Sinai what's said to be the 2 tablets of the law. Strange enough, it's one of the things that happens twice again in the Torah, showing these things happen twice. There's a Moses covenant first, and then the Christ covenant afterwards.
Literally. So the Christ covenant. What about this Council of Nicaea thing? What's all that about?
The Council of Nicaea was just an attempt to come up with a canonical Bible, and there's a lot of myths about the Council of Nicaea. That what they did was essentially authorised, for want of a better word.
For want of a better word, yeah.
Well, brought together books that were already together as scrolls. People think that they had all these arguments. There were arguments over a few books, and there are still controversial books about it, that some include in the Bible, some don't. But nevertheless, the core books of the Bible have more or less remained unchanged, even before the Council of Nicaea for a couple of 100 years. And the books of the main Bible, all the things lefties tell you, like, he doesn't say he's the Son of God or the Messiah in the Bible. Yes, he does. The Bible, let's say also things about the Bible. The Bible's full of crap because what God wanted mankind to do was to preserve this thing. And it's preserved with all the crap in there that plays with mankind's prejudices. But it commands you to do one thing, and that's love. All those other things have got to be read in the light of that, and that's what it's all about. It's not secretly, it's actually make sure we preserve God's law. But God understands the dark heart of man so well, he did it through putting a load of nonsense in it, basically. But those people all have free will. The Bible's never killed anybody, despite what atheists will tell you.
No, it's an interpretation of...
So the 10 things that Moses comes down, he says the 10 commandments, basically. You don't need 10 commandments if you love your neighbours, you love yourself, obviously. But that's what they say on those tablets. They're not. The Hebrew word in the original is the 10 words. Love God and love your neighbours, you love yourself is 10 words. So that is the law that I bring down from Mount Sinai on the second occasion, because I am, in a sense, the second Moses. Not that I incarnate from the same soul as Moses, but if you look at the spelling of Moses in the old Hebrew, it's actually the letters that give you Messiah. This is a figurative story predicting the arrival of the Messiah, not a piece of history about a man who existed, between 3,000 and 4,000 years ago.
Now, basically, obviously, from that, I obviously know the Quran side of things a little bit more. I've sort of studied the Quran more than I've studied the other books. Now, obviously, in that lays down a very clear foundation for how monetary systems should be applied without the use of usury. So let's take a moment there just to think about that.
just talk about it just for a minute.